Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a great day today. My name's Cody and I want to thank you for stopping by the farm. So today we are doing a follow-up video to when we got our tower garden set up and our seeds started. The seeds are a little bit on the short side. Typically they like to be about 3 inches before we do a transplant, but they're getting pretty close and I want to get the room back in the grow room. So they're going into the tower today. There's a few things, a few things that we got to get taken care of before we do that. First thing is whenever you want to do a hydroponic thing growing, make sure you test your water for the pH. Now I use filtered bottled water for this because I'm on a well out here. Our water is rather sulfury and I prefer to use bottled water just because I know what we're getting when we bring it in, but I still have a pH tester here. I'm just going to test the water really quick. So this test is very straightforward. Just going to give this a little bit of a shake. All I need to do is get 5 mils of water out of the reservoir down there, which I have, and then add 5 drops of the solution here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just gonna let that sit for a bit. There we go, and you can already see it's changed color. I don't know if that'll show up that well or not, but we got a nice green color, and I'm gonna put it down on my test chart here just to see where it lines up the closest. See the color variations there and then the color that we got in our water there. So the trick is just trying to figure out where we fit the best, and I'm leaning right towards that 7 pH, which is there at the top. It's always nice to do a pH test whenever you're starting the hydroponics here, just to make sure that the water is at the right pH. So we've discovered now that we have a pH of 7, and we need to bring that down between 5.5 and 6.5. So ideally, if we can get it right at that 6 pH, or pH is 6, which is a little bit lighter of a green on our test, that's what we're after. So to bring this down, I'm going to add maybe about a teaspoon of this acid solution just to bring it down a little bit. I'm going to run it through a cycle here and then I'm going to test it after a little while. So be careful here. Just a little splash. There we go. So I'm going to let that circulate a little bit, get that solution all mixed together, and then about a minute or 2 I'll retest it just to see where our pH is at. Alright, so now you can see how fun is that we've actually gone down to 4.5. So I need to add a little bit of our basic solution to help bring that back up. But isn't that so cool? There we go. So with a little bit of fiddling, we got the pH to right between it's 6 and 6.5, which is where it says it's optimal or ideal for this hydroponic growing. The last thing to do is we need to put some nutrition into a reservoir for our plants to feed from. So this kit comes with 2 different mixtures, an A and a B, and I've got the reservoir filled about halfway. So I'm going to put about 200 mils of each of the solution into the reservoir here. I should mention I had them pre-mixed out as well, so they were already measured and ready to go. Those just go in there. And now I'm going to run the system again for a few more minutes just to kind of get everything all agitated and mixed up. So now that I've got all the nutrients mixed in there, I'm going to test the pH just once more just to make sure that everything has stayed nice and level. So again, I'll take my test tube, make sure we get out 5 mils of water. We'll add 5 drops of our solution. There we go, and when we compare it to our chart, we're sitting at around a 5.5 pH, and that's really optimal for this setup here. So I'm happy now that everything has been balanced and all the nutrients are in there, so next thing to do is to get the plants into their new homes. So it's always important when we're setting up a hydroponic system to make sure that we don't have a neutral pH. When we started off at 7, a 7 pH makes it really hard for nutrients like zinc and magnesium and iron to be absorbed by the plant. So the plants end up rather unhealthy because they have a deficiency in those compounds there. So by lowering the pH to about that 5.5, 5.6, it allows for those nutrients to be better uptaken by the roots, which ultimately will give you healthier plants. So it's always important to make sure that you test your pH and try to bring it down just a little bit there. Your plants are going to be healthy, and they're going to thank you a lot for that. So we did probably a dozen tests today just to make sure that that's all straightened out. So that's yeah, quick little side on that. But now that everything in the reservoir is all set and good to go, The last thing to do is to get these little guys into these net pots and the net pots into the container there. There we go. So now we've got our little guy cut out from the big cell there, and I'm going to plop him into our little net pot like so. And the last thing to do is just to gently place him in his little hole there. Get him nice and snug. There we go. Now I'll fill up the rest of these with little plants, and as the water is pumped from the reservoir down here, it goes all the way to the top, and then it slowly drips down through each layer, and as it does that, it's going to continue to keep the growing medium that seedling is in moist, and it'll have all the nutrients, the nice balanced water pH, and everything that it needs to grow healthy and strong. So I'm gonna get the rest of these cut up and put into the tower. I hope you can see this, but this is one of the, I don't know what this is, maybe a cucumber, but look at the roots on that. Isn't that, I hope that shows up against my shirt, it will, but isn't that just so cool to see this little guy growing? So once they get into that tower and they start to get in proper food and proper light, these guys are just gonna take off. So it's just fascinating to watch these things come alive. Here we have a few tomatoes in our rock wool substrate. I definitely am leaning more towards using the rock wool in the future. It just is a little bit easier for me to work with. But I just wanted to show you these little baby roots down here. Aren't those just the most precious thing that you've ever seen? And the little guys up top there. Just beautiful. And there we go. So our tower garden now is all set up and ready to go. There are a few more spots on the back that I have a little bit more room for, a few more plants to get into, but I ran out of those netted pots. So I have to go to the garden center and get some more of those. So I'll do that this week and get it filled in. But anyway, that was just a quick rundown on how I get this all set up. I'm going to put the pump and the lights on a timer just so that I can automate this whole process and let this thing kind of go on its own. Even though I have a nice bright south-facing window, I'm still going to add the light kit on there just to make sure that it's all the way around gets nice bright light. Your plants are going to be a lot happier for that for sure. But that's pretty much it. I don't know too much about the whole hydroponic growing thing, and the biggest takeaway for me was getting that pH under 7, you know, making sure that your water is able to dissolve those important nutrients and minerals for your plants to uptake, and they can't do that at 7 pH. So 5.5, 6.5 is where you want them. But other than that, guys, we are all done here. So thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me this morning. I hope you have a great day with whatever it is you get up to. And until next time, guys, take care. I'll catch you later. Bye now.